Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, unpack complex stuff, and hopefully give you some clear, useful knowledge.
That's the plan.
So today, we're diving into something that can be, well, pretty mystifying. Audio-visual signals. Specifically, how you get all your gear to actually work together nicely.
Yeah, stop fighting each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our way in today is looking at a product page from HDTV Supply. It's for a device called the WolfPack 4K60 Multifunction Adjuster for HDCP, scaling, seamless, and audio. Quite a name.
It tells you a lot up front, though.
It really does. So our mission really is to figure out what this little box does, why it's so important, sometimes essential actually, and how it solves some of those really common, infuriating problems. The ones you hit in your home theater, maybe at the office, digital signs. Get ready for some aha moments, I think. Especially if you've ever just stared at a blank screen wondering what on earth is going on.
Oh, yeah, that blank screen. And what's really interesting here, and what we'll dig into, is how this one, pretty compact device, tackles like 3 big AV challenges at once.
Right.
You've got resolution mismatches, you've got those content protection hiccups.
HDCP, yeah.
HDCP, exactly. And then audio routing, which can get weirdly complicated. So this dive isn't just what it does, but why these features are so critical now, why we even need things like this.
It feels like everyone's got a story, right? An AV headache story. You plug in a new TV or a streaming box, or you're trying to set up a projector for a big meeting.
Yep.
And instead of that crisp picture, you get nothing. Or it's all garbled. Or maybe just video, no sound. It feels like the devices are just speaking different languages.
It really can seem that way.
And that moment, that exact frustration where you think, oh no, do I need to replace everything?
Yeah.
That's where something like this WolfPack adjuster comes in.
That's the perfect entry point for it. It really shines a light on these kind of hidden complexities in digital signals. Think of this adjuster as maybe a universal translator.
Okay.
Or like a diplomat for your AV gear. Or even a tiny IT department in a box. Because with digital signals, especially HDMI, there's layers of communication going on. Negotiation, protection. They all need to line up just right.
And if one doesn't,
the whole thing can just fall over. Suddenly your brand new 4K streamer won't talk to your perfectly good, maybe slightly older TV, and bam, blank screen.
Okay, you mentioned it before, and when we talk blank screens, the term that probably makes people shudder is HDCP. I know when I was looking into common AV issues, that just kept coming up.
The big one.
So for anyone who hasn't battled it, what exactly is HDCP and why is it such a pain?
Right. So HDCP stands for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection. It's basically digital copy protection.
Okay.
Its job is to stop people making unauthorized copies of, say, a movie as it travels from your Blu-ray player or your Roku stick to your TV or projector.
So it's like a security check.
Exactly. A security handshake. The source device checks if the display device is authorized to show the protected content. If that handshake fails, no picture. Or sometimes sound, but no picture.
So it's about copyright, fundamentally. Yeah. But it's the user who feels the pain when it goes wrong. And the issue is usually the different versions, isn't it? Like 1.4 versus 2.2?
Precisely. That's the core of many problems. You might have a new 4K source that insists on using HDCP 2.2, which is needed for a lot of 4K content. But your older display, maybe an early 4K TV or a 1080p projector, might only understand HDCP 1.
And they just refuse to connect.
They refuse to complete the handshake. It's like, yeah, 2 people trying that secret handshake, but they learn totally from versions. It just doesn't work. Mismatch.
Right.
And this incompatibility, it's a massive headache for everyone, consumers, installers. So this WolfPack adjuster, it steps in as an HDCP manager or selector.
How does it manage it? Does it strip it out or?
Yeah, no, it doesn't strip it out. That's not the goal and wouldn't be legal. It acts more like an intermediary. It understands both versions or multiple versions and helps negotiate between them. It can essentially make sure the necessary compatibility is established so the handshake succeeds, even if the source and display natively speak different HDCP languages.
Oh, okay. So it translates the handshake.
In a way, yes. It ensures the communication works. This really highlights that tension, Content creators want strong protection. Users want stuff to just work with the gear they own. This box helps bridge that gap.
That's huge, especially if you're just trying to add one new piece of kit without needing a whole system overhaul. It bridges that generational gap in copy protection.
Exactly.
But okay, HDCP isn't the only hurdle, right? Let's say the handshake works fine. You can still have problems with resolution. Maybe you've got a new 4K TV, but an old DVD player, or the other way around.
Absolutely. That's the next big thing this device handles, scaling. It's a powerful upscaler and downscaler.
Okay, break that down. Upscaling first.
Sure, imagine your nice new 4K TV. But you connect, say, an older games console that only outputs 1080p.
Okay.
Without scaling, that 1080p image might look kind of soft or blurry stretched out on the 4K screen, or it might just show up as a smaller picture in the middle.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So the WolfPack can take that 1080p signal and intelligently upscale it to fit the 4K screen, making it look as sharp as possible for its original resolution.
And downscaling. If I have 4K content, but only a 1080p screen?
Then it does the reverse. It takes the 4K signal from your source and scales it down to 1080p so your older display can actually show it. Otherwise, you might just get that unsupported signal or resolution not supported message, blank screen again.
Yeah. The worst messages. So it's about making sure the picture always fits the screen it's meant for and looks right.
Precisely. Getting the right image optimally displayed.
And the specs mention it supports up to 380/40 by 2160 at 60 Hz. That's proper 4K at 60 frames per second. That sounds pretty capable.
It is. That 4K 60 capability is key for modern sources like new consoles, PCs, streaming boxes. It means smooth motion, which is great for gaming, sports.
And it also mentioned 4.4.4 chroma sampling. That sounds technical. Why is that important?
Right. So 4.4.4 chroma essentially means full color information for every single pixel. Some other common formats like 4.2.2 or 4.2.0, they compress the color information a bit to save bandwidth. They share color data across groups of pixels.
Okay.
Think of 4.4.4 as getting the absolute full, uncompromised color detail. It's especially important for things like sharp text on a computer display, detailed graphics, or professional video work where color accuracy is critical.
So not just for movies, but presentations and stuff too.
Exactly. It ensures maximum fidelity. And the fact this box can handle that, plus 4K60, means it's not a bottleneck for high-quality signals. It also mentions custom resolutions, which gives extra flexibility for oddball displays or projectors.
That really clarifies things. It seems like even if the resolution could work, sometimes the devices just get confused about what the other one can actually do.
Yeah.
Which brings us to EDEED, right? The box mentions managing EDEED. What's that?
EDEED, yes. It stands for Extended Display Identification Data. Think of it like a digital resume or maybe a spec sheet that your TV or projector sends back to the source device.
Okay, so the display says, here's what I can do.
Pretty much. It tells the source device, your player, your console, your PC, what resolutions it supports, what refresh rates, what audio formats it likes, all its capabilities.
And what goes wrong with that?
Well, sometimes, especially if you have splitters, switches, or long cables in the mix, that EDEED signal can get lost, corrupted, or misinterpreted. The source device might then get the wrong information or no information and send out a signal the display can't handle. Result? Blank screen, or maybe the wrong resolution or refresh rate.
So the WolfPack fixes this how? Does it generate a new EDEED?
It can manage it. It can correctly read the display's EDEED and pass it through cleanly. Or it can store a known good EDEED or even let you select a preset EDEED. Basically, it ensures the source device gets clear, correct instructions. It presents a consistent, optimized EDEED so the source always outputs a compatible signal.
So it's like a communication enhancer, making sure the message gets through clearly.
Exactly. It smooths out that fundamental communication step to prevent problems before they start. It's kind of the unsung hero in many AV setups.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, we've hit video pretty hard, HDCP, scaling, EDEED, but the name also calls out audio. Audio can be just as tricky sometimes. What's it doing on the audio front?
Right, audio is crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah, often forgotten until it doesn't work. This device does two key things: audio embedding and audio de-embedding.
Putting audio in.
Yep. Audio embedding lets you take a separate audio signal, maybe from a microphone input, a background music player, a mixer, and inject it into the HDMI signal that's going to your display.
Why would you do that?
You think digital signage, maybe, or a presentation. You might want specific music or narration to go along with the video, but your video source doesn't have that audio. This lets you add it in, sending both down the single HDMI cable.
Okay, clever. So de-embedding must be the opposite, taking audio out.
Exactly. HDMI conveniently carries video and audio together. But what if your display is, say, a projector with really tinny speakers? Or you want to send the sound to your big surround sound system, maybe an older amplifier that only has analog inputs, not HDMI.
Yeah, that's a common one.
So the WolfPack can strip the audio out of the incoming HDMI signal and send it out through a separate port, typically a standard 3.5mm analog audio jack on this kind of device.
Oh.
This gives you huge flexibility. Video goes to the screen, high-quality audio goes to your separate sound system. You get the best of both worlds. Solves a lot of headaches trying to connect modern sources to older but still good audio gear.
That is incredibly practical. I definitely remember spending ages trying to get a soundbar, an older TV, and a streaming stick to all play nice. Lots of cable swapping. This sounds like it could have saved me a lot of hassle.
That's exactly the kind of scenario it's built for, combining those functions.
Speaking of functions, the product name also has seamless in it. In AV, that usually means smooth transitions, right? Like no black screens when switching inputs.
That's a great point. Yes, seamless in this context likely refers to how smoothly it handles changes. Whether it's switching between different connected sources or maybe even when the internal scaler adjusts the resolution.
So instead of that jarring black screen or glitch for a few seconds.
It aims to make the transition instant and fluid. Much better for presentations, live events, or even just watching stuff at home. It keeps things looking professional and avoids pulling you out of the experience.
Makes sense. Nobody likes those clumsy blackouts. Now, one more feature mention that caught my eye was image rotation. 90 degrees, 270. Why would you rotate a video signal?
It seems niche, maybe, but it's actually super useful in certain areas. Think digital signage again. Or retail displays, video walls, art installations.
Okay, how?
Imagine you have a tall, thin screen mounted vertically portrait mode, like a menu board or an advertisement.
Right.
Normally, video content is landscape. Without a feature like this, you'd have to create the content sideways or mess with software settings or physically rotate the display maybe. This device lets you rotate the signal itself 90 degrees, 180, 270, so your standard landscape video displays correctly on a portrait screen.
At the hardware level.
Exactly, hardware level rotation. It simplifies the setup massively and just makes using screens in different orientations much, much easier, more flexible.
That's a really good example. So this thing really does cover a lot of bases, from home users to commercial setups.
Right.
With all this going on, HDCP, scaling, E-D audio stuff, rotation,
Yeah.
how do you actually control it? Does it need a computer science degree?
No, thankfully. It seems pretty versatile there, too. The page mentions a few ways. You've got basic push buttons right on the front panel for quick changes.
Okay, simple enough.
Then there's an IR remote control for controlling it from your couch or across the room. Standard stuff.
Right.
And for more professional or integrated setups, it mentions RS-232 commands. That lets you tie it into bigger control systems like Crestron or Control 4 used in smart homes or boardrooms.
So automation is possible.
Yes. And it even mentions DIP switches, those little physical switches on the board itself. You can use those to lock in certain settings permanently, kind of a set it and forget it's mode.
So options for everyone, from simple button pushing to complex integration. Plus, I saw it has a USB-A port for firmware upgrades. That seems like a good sign.
Absolutely. That points towards longevity. AV standards, they change. New features might become desirable. Being able to update the firmware means the box doesn't become obsolete quite so quickly. It can adapt.
Protects your investment a bit.
Exactly. In a field that moves so fast that's really valuable. And it does all this, apparently, in a pretty small package. 0.5 kilogram, it said. Easy to tuck away behind the TV or in a rack.
Yeah, designed to be invisible, just fixing problems.
Pretty much the kind of thing you don't notice until it stops something from going wrong. Or, well, makes everything finally work, right?
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? Maybe you're setting up a new TV, maybe you're trying to make old gear work with new gear, or maybe you're just curious about what makes all this tech tick behind the scenes. Understanding a tool like this WolfPack Adjuster, it gives you real insight, I think. It's a solid reminder that even those super frustrating tech glitches, those blank screens, often have these neat, compact solutions out there.
And it does raise a bigger question, doesn't it? In this world where everything's connected, how much does our smooth experience really depend on these little unsung hero boxes, these adjusters working behind the scenes?
That's a good point.
Think about all the different devices you plug together every day. A single incompatibility, HDCP, resolution, audio format, just one small thing, and the whole chain can break down.
Right.
The fact that products like this WolfPack exist and are so versatile really underlines how critical these problem solvers are. They keep our complex digital setups actually, working. Now, it's worth a tiny mention, perhaps.
Take it on.
Every box you add in a signal path, even a clever one like this, technically adds a tiny bit of processing time, a potential point of maybe imperceptible signal change or latency. For 99% of people, you'd never notice.
But maybe for like pro gamers or broadcast.
Exactly. High stakes, ultra low latency situations might notice. But for most uses, it's negligible. It just encourages us to look past the big shiny screens sometimes and appreciate the essential glue, the foundational hardware like this, that bridges all the gaps, connects the old, the new, keeps everything talking.
Well said. And that is our deep dive for today. Thanks for joining us as we explored the world of AV signal management.
Hope it was useful.
We really hope you feel a bit more clued in now, maybe less intimidated by all those acronyms and specs, and perhaps ready to tackle your next AV puzzle. Until next time,